Welcome to the Dominate Your Niche podcast with me, Ruth Ferreira. Here we chat to some of today's best small business leaders, individuals who are shaking up their industry and dominating their niche. The show tackles all things business growth, from strategy, marketing and branding, and delves into the secrets of what it takes to dominate your niche. The aim of this podcast is to empower founders with big dreams, small and micro businesses, and even solopreneurs who are looking to make a big impact. People who are hungry to learn from those who have gone before them and implement that knowledge to next level in their own business. So welcome, lean in, and then go take action to propel yourself towards dominating your niche in your small business. Welcome to the latest episode of the Dominate Your Niche podcast with me, Ruth Ferreira. Today's episode focuses on what you lean into expands. The inspiration behind this is that we all have moments when we start something new, or even if we've been doing something for a while, where things feel hard, things feel like a struggle, and we have a choice. We can either lean in and push through that discomfort, or we can quit. And what if I told you that the things that you lean into the most, the things you really commit to, will be the things that expand and grow both in your life and in your business? So the real inspiration behind this has been one of my gym besties. So the story of me in the gym. Back in the day, and we're talking like a good 20, maybe 25 years ago, I was extremely fit, extremely healthy. I was fairly good at judo. I, was exercising multiple times a week. I played a lot of hockey. I swam a lot. I was a lifeguard. It was a different time in my life. Fast forward 20 years, and the years of working in London with very little control over my time meant that I'd basically stopped exercising. I'd stopped doing judo because I got arthritis in my neck when I was about 20. And I just basically wasn't really doing anything. I had, bursts of needing to get fit, and I'd do something for a little while. I accidentally ran a marathon 7 years ago. There's a whole story there, but it's not one for today's podcast. And then 6 months ago, my husband was signing up to our local gym because it has a good swimming pool. He's training for an Ironman at the moment, a massive triathlon. And he asked me if I would like a membership too, because it was very cheap to add me and the kids on. And the thing is, I didn't even say yes. I was like, yeah, sure, why not? I was very much like, take it or leave it, it doesn't hurt. And the crazy thing is it has now become one of my favorite things that I do. So I think I started in September. And I remember my first gym class. And oh my goodness, if you'd have been there, you would have laughed at me. Actually, it wasn't the first one. I won't go into the first one. But the second one I went to, it was a body attack class. And it's kind of as brutal as it sounds, honestly. There's a lot of jumping, there's a lot of squats, there's a lot of burpees. And for those of you who don't know what a burpee is, lucky you. But you're basically jumping down to the floor, kicking your legs out behind you, jumping back in, and then jumping up. Now, for the fit people around, doing these is no problem. But back in the day, I could literally do 2 of these, maximum 3, and I would just fall in a heap, unable to get off the floor. Wasn't a good time for me. But the amazing thing is that I loved being in that environment. Like my gym, it's very like high energy, great music, great people. And I pushed through that pain. I leant in and I kept going back. And I actually came to love doing these really hard classes. And I gradually got better and better and better. And one of my favorite things in going to the gym is the people that I am there with. So shout out to my gym besties. I'm not going to name any names, but you guys know who you are. And thank you, because without you, I might not still be there. But one of my gym besties in particular inspired this podcast because she's just awesome. She's super fit. She's super encouraging. Um, and I recently discovered in a throwaway comment of hers that she is in her 60s. Now, when I discovered this, like this absolutely blew me away because she is so strong, so fit, so like slim, muscular, just like absolutely freaking killing it in the gym. And just seems to have a really good balance in life as well. And so she's literally a decade and sorry, two and a bit decades older than me, but has that vibrancy of being a lot younger. And she's so much fitter than me. And I told her, I was like, wow, I can't even believe it. I said to her, like, you're in such much better shape than I am. And her response was, I've been doing this for 2 decades. I've been doing it a lot longer than you. And that really struck me. And it honestly has inspired this entire podcast. And it's probably inspired my future keynote speech as well. This concept of what we lean into expands because when she started, she was probably no better than I was, or I mean, she might have been quite a bit better than I was. I was pretty bad when I started. Still on a journey. But she leant in, she pushed through the pain. She made this commitment to herself, to her health, to her fitness. And now she is at a point where she's actually not hugely younger than my own parents. And physically, she's in a very different place. And I just found it so inspiring. So, what I'd love to do today is just explore this concept of what you lean into expands, both from a life perspective, but also thinking about how do we apply this in our businesses. So, what does it mean to lean into something? Well, it basically means pushing into it. So, can be go all in, or it can be just push that little bit further. So, say you are trying something new, or I don't know, maybe if it's in your business, it's you're trying to get visible on social media. And maybe it's, like me when I started this podcast, I lent in, I put energy into it, I committed. Yes, a lot of these things are uncomfortable, they're scary, they're unfamiliar, they're out of our comfort zone. But when you lean in, you commit to making it happen. So in your business, as I said, this could be social media. For some of you, it could be networking. I know so many people who absolutely hate networking. They're so uncomfortable doing it, but they know they need to do it because it's a great way for them to meet prospective clients. So if this is you and you're thinking, okay, well, what might it look like for me to lean into networking? Well, the first thing you're going to need to do is find out where are the networking events and choose a couple to attend. Secondly, is think who do you want to be showing up as? I always recommend showing up as your best business self. So, whatever it is you do, like if you are a PT, show up, continue the gym theme, show up in like your good gym gear. Please don't be sweaty. Um, but like show up as your best self. So for me as a business coach, I want to get noticed in a room. I show up in like vibrant colors. I do not have a lot of skin out. You're almost never going to see much of my skin because I don't want to be known for the wrong thing. But I will get noticed because I'll generally be wearing bright colors, and I'll be dressed fairly professional but with a fun edge. If I can get leopard print in, I will. And then think about what is your messaging? So, how do you want to be presenting yourself? And I'm not talking about having a pitch. You literally pitch everyone you meet. That is not going to be great. But be the person that people want to meet. Bring the energy and be interested in other people. So that's just one example for you. But basically, to summarize this point, leaning in, it just means pushing into something, putting your energy into it, and just being consistent and showing up in that area despite the discomfort. And amazing things happen when we lean in. There is the concept of compound. This has been called the eighth wonder of the world. And it's the idea that little actions over time build on each other, they multiply, and the impact of that is exponential. So, there's the idea that say we even improved 1% over time. I wish I'd done the maths on this before I started or looked it up. I have not. But say we seek to make a 1% improvement every single day, but each day we're improving 1% on the day before. By the end of the year, that cumulative total is actually going to be a lot more than 365% because it's compounded together, those tiny little changes. And how does this show up in the gym? Well, do you know what? I've got biceps now. They're not amazing, but like they are getting more defined. I've got stomach muscles. They're not as near the surface as other people's are necessarily, but they're on their way. And it's just like I've lent in, I've pushed into the hard classes. And I also made a decision early on in the gym that if I was going to show up, I was going to show up with a great attitude. I was going to enjoy it and I was going to try hard. Have I done this every single session? No, absolutely no. I've actually been really ill in the last week. Luckily, my gorgeous podcast VA is brilliant because I keep having cough breaks, but hopefully you won't hear any of that. But no, yesterday I went to another body attack class and literally I had a little break during a push-ups section where I was literally lying on the floor, hands under my head, having a little nap. Not a nap, but like a little rest. And like people actually checked in. They're like, "Are you okay?" I was like, "Do you know what? I'm fine." But I've not been very well. And today, this is where I'm at. This is all I've got. But actually, that was still me leaning in because I showed up. I gave what I had on the day. I didn't push past what was sensible for where I was at the time. And it's the same in business. Like every time that we lean into a certain area, that thing is going to grow. So for some of you, you need to lean into your lead generation. You need to find the right ways to bring the right leads, the right new prospects into your business and bring a lot more of them in. Some of you actually have loads of leads. And if you do, it's good to ask the question, are they the right people? Because it doesn't matter how many leads you have. If they do not want what you do in the way that you do it, and they can't afford to work with you right now, then they're not your people. They may be later, and it's always good to stay in touch. But you want to make sure you're connecting with people who are ready to work with you, who are looking for what you do and willing to spend the kind of money that you need people to spend on that product or service. Are you ready to grow your business this year? Join me for Supercharge Your Month, a 60-minute clarity and strategy workshop to reflect, plan, and get super strategic to make your growth dreams a reality. The first Tuesday of every month at 10 a.m. for just £97, or free if it's your first time. My gift to you. Book on now via the show notes. See you there. For some of you, you need to lean in to your conversion process. And there'll be a podcast episode coming on this sometime soon. Because actually, if you've got loads of leads coming into your business, but you're not converting loads of them into clients, you're probably missing a trick. And there's probably, it's not a trick, sorry, terrible expression, but you probably need to look at your process. And for some of you, you've got loads of clients, but you're not making all that much money. And you actually need to look at your products and your pricing and just work out if there are some small changes that you could make that will help you to increase the profit in your business. So loads of different ways. So how do we lean in? The first thing I recommend anyone to do when leaning in their business is set some goals. If you don't know what you want to achieve, chances are you're not going to achieve a hell of a lot, or you might achieve, but they're not the right things, that it's not what you want to achieve. So think about what is it that you want, and then get strategic. Think about how do you make it happen? What are the 20% actions that are going to get you the 80% results? So set the goals, get strategic so you know the action plan to get there, and then be consistent. This small daily activity gets you the results. It's not about putting on a big push for 1 year and then lying on the beach for the next 3 months. Although everyone loves a bit of tanning, and there are certainly clients of mine who spend a lot of their life at the beach, and I am probably one of those people. But the consistency has to be there. And then embrace discomfort. Get comfortable being uncomfortable. So growth doesn't happen in your comfort zone. I wish it did. A lot of people would be doing so much better. But actually, we need to lean into that discomfort and push ourselves, because when we are outside of our comfort zone, that is when we get the biggest results. And then commit to the long term. It's a marathon, not a sprint. So showing up daily, know that the work you're doing now will compound and add up in the future. It doesn't happen overnight. It's a process. It's those daily little things, like, me showing up to my gym classes. If you show up in your business daily, making just a small amount of progress, 6, 12, 18 months from now, you're not even going to recognize where you are. And actually, this is something I've seen myself in my LinkedIn social media. So 2 years ago, I really wasn't on LinkedIn very much. I had an account. I had, like 1,000 followers or something. So it was something, but I wasn't consistent. I wasn't posting regularly, and I wasn't really using it as a platform. And then probably around September 2024, could have been 2023 actually. I might be getting, maybe it's 2.5 years. I don't know. It was September 2023. That is 18 months ago. Lucky that I don't do simple maths on a daily basis, isn't it? I lent in. I started showing up. I started posting 4 or 5 times a week, every single week. Yeah, I occasionally take time off for holiday, but a lot of the time I have my posts scheduled and going out, or have my virtual assistant posting on my behalf if I'm away. And I just showed up over time. I built relationships. I connected with people, and I was really intentional about building my LinkedIn platform. And now, honestly, my LinkedIn is thriving. I turned up to a networking event last week, a Chamber of Commerce event, and somebody came up and he's like, Ruth, it was like we were best friends. He seemed to know everything about me. I didn't even know his name. God, I hope he's not listening to this. I probably told him. I'm quite honest like that. But people in my LinkedIn following, they feel like they know me because I have consistently been there. And I've built relationships with people who, honestly, I barely know. And that is just me leaning in to something that honestly was super uncomfortable for me. I hated it to start with, but I did it, and it's a great source of business for me these days. So, where can we apply the principle of leaning in? Well, let's think both in business and in life. So, in your business, lean into your marketing and consistently looking to make improvements. So, work on your messaging, work on if you're putting flyers out before you next print them, make sure that you are ticking all of the boxes in terms of what you should have on a flyer. Make it super easy for people to respond. Make sure that you are standing out within your expertise, that your niche is really clear, and that your messaging on that flyer is talking directly to the people that you want to work with. Look for the small, consistent improvements and learn how to be better. So nobody is born knowing how to do marketing. But if you own your own business, you need to learn this stuff, because unless you're outsourcing it, nobody's doing it for you. And actually, the number of people with a small business who can afford to outsource their marketing, it's not loads. And unpopular opinion, don't hate me, any social media experts or agencies, I should say, I generally don't think anyone does you as well as you. So for me, never say never, but I never really plan to outsource my own social media and marketing, because I am the face of my brand. And for some businesses, yes, it makes sense. But marketing's a skill that we can all learn and we can all develop. So lean in, look for the small, consistent improvements and learn the skills, the knowledge, and implement them. We can lean into building relationships. So within business, yes, go out networking, identify the people that you want in your circle, and start to build that relationship. It's not going to be instant, but it's staying in touch. It's looking at how can you genuinely help them. It's having their back. It's reaching out to them from time to time. It's staying in touch. It's encouraging them. It's inspiring them. It's connecting them. And these things come around. And the more you help others, in my experience, the better things that come your way. So lean into developing your relationships, your skills, your knowledge, and be willing to learn and make mistakes along the way. Nobody is perfect. We are all going to fail. And I want you to get comfortable with that, because it's okay to fail. Hopefully we don't fail too badly. Hopefully it doesn't cost us too much. But day to day, there's always opportunity for growth and for learning. So, in conclusion, what you lean into expands. Whether it's at the gym, whether it's in life, in business, whatever it is. Growth only really happens when you fully commit, you lean into the discomfort, and you stay consistent. So for anyone listening today, what I would love for you to do is to consider one area of your business or your life where you could lean in a little more. Have a think of what you want to achieve in that area. Write it down and put it somewhere that you can see it. And then make a plan to make it happen. Think strategically, what do you need to do to make that happen? And just lean in a little more than you currently are. Get a little uncomfortable and start pushing yourself. Maybe get an accountability partner to help you stay consistent. And then watch as that consistency compounds over time. It multiplies together, and 6, 12, 18 months from now, you're not even going to recognize where you are. Thank you so much for listening. If you enjoyed this, I would be delighted if you would subscribe to the podcast, or even better, share this episode with somebody who you would like to lean into something with and keep each other accountable. Thank you for listening today. If you like what you hear, please hit subscribe and leave us a review. Even better, come connect with me, Ruth Ferreira, on LinkedIn and Instagram. I'd love to get to know you.